Several women in the Bible are described as exceptionally beautiful. Rachel was so beautiful that Jacob was willing to work for years in order to marry her. Sarah remained so attractive even in her older age that Abraham feared for his safety and chose to hide the fact that she was his wife. But today, we'll focus on Esther. Among all the beautiful women in the kingdom, Esther was chosen to become queen. Yet her beauty was only part of what made her remarkable. The Bible tells us that Esther won the favor of everyone who met her because of her humility, trustworthiness, wisdom, and grace. 1. Her childhood. Esther was actually an orphan. The Bible tells us that both of her parents had died. Instead, she was raised by her cousin Mordecai, who cared for her as his own daughter. Growing up as an orphan likely shaped Esther. They knew the world is imperfect and uncertain in early age. They understand what it feels like to be vulnerable. They know what it means to depend on the kindness and support of good people. These experiences can develop qualities such as humility, empathy, and resilience. 2. The selection. After Queen Vashti was removed from her position, the vast Persian Empire gathered all beautiful young women in search for a new queen. Among them was Esther. From a human perspective, Esther seemed to have little advantage. She had no royal background, no powerful family connections, and no wealth to elevate her status. Yet from the moment she arrived, something set her apart. Esther does not merely impress people with her beauty. There was something about her attitude that made her gain people's favor in a highly competitive, cutthroat environment. Even Haggai, the official responsible for the women, favoritized Esther, and this is why. Humility. Instead of demanding the best jewels to outshine others, Esther preferred the advice of Haggai, the king's eunuch. Her cooperative nature earned immediate affection. Faithfulness. Earlier, Mordecai had instructed her not to reveal her Jewish identity. Even after entering the palace and gaining favor, Esther remained faithful to Mordecai's instruction. She did not become arrogant and abandon Mordecai. The Bible even states that Esther continued to follow Mordecai's instructions as she had done when he was bringing her up. She remained loyal. Trustworthiness. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, overheard two of the king's officials, Bigthana and Teresh, who guarded the entrance to the palace, secretly planning to kill King Ahasuerus. Mordecai immediately informed Esther, and Esther faithfully passed the warning to the king, giving credit to Mordecai as the source of the information. Here, instead of ignoring the information or using the information for her own advantage, Esther proved herself trustworthy both to the king and Mordecai by reporting the conspiracy against the king and giving Mordecai credit for uncovering the plot. Later, the king rewarded Mordecai with public honor and a position of authority, making him second in command after the king himself. Apart from her beauty, these honorable qualities shone through and made the king favor Esther more than any other beautiful woman in the kingdom. 3. The calling. Out of all the women in the empire, Esther was chosen. The orphan girl who had once lost everything was now queen, and God was preparing her for a purpose greater than she could yet imagine. When a decree was issued to destroy the Jewish people, Esther faced a choice: remain silent and protect herself, or risk everything to save others. Encouraged by Mordecai's advice, Esther recognized that her royal position was not an accident. God had placed her there for a purpose. Though afraid, she chose to trust God, embrace her calling, and courageously stand for her people. In this situation, Esther's wisdom is shown by her attitude. 1. She spoke with the right manner. Rather than blaming the king for approving Haman's decree, Esther approached him respectfully and appealed for his help. Her humble approach prevented defensiveness and directed the king's attention to her. Esther understood that wisdom involves not only speaking the truth, but also speaking it in the right manner. 2. She prepares. After learning about Haman's decree, Esther did not immediately go to the king and demand justice. Instead, she first asked the Jews to fast and pray for 3 days. This demonstrates wisdom because Esther prepared spiritually and carefully. She considered her next step before taking action. 3. She chose the right timing. The Bible does not explicitly say how many people were present when Esther first approached the king. but it is very unlikely that they were completely alone. Esther knew when the first time she met the king, she was bringing a serious accusation against the king's highest official. If she spoke too quickly in front of many officials, she risked being dismissed or misunderstood. Instead of revealing Haman's plot immediately, Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At that banquet, the king asked again what she wanted. Yet Esther delayed once more and invited them to a second banquet. By waiting, she created an environment where the king's attention was fully focused on her, and the king's interest grew of the matter she wanted to bring up. For she is playing the long game. Esther is strategic and patient for future success, and she also solved the problem until the core after Haman was executed. Esther realized that the danger to the Jews had not completely disappeared. The decree authorizing their destruction was still in effect. So she appealed to the king for another decree to protect her people. Esther did not assume the problem was solved simply because Haman was gone. She thought ahead, recognized the remaining threat, and worked toward a solution. Her wisdom was seen not only in exposing the problem, but also in helping secure a lasting remedy.